Howdy there. Well, last night I saw Paul. Paul is about two British geeks, nerds, whatever you want to call them, going to the San Diego Comic-Con and traveling through the America's Southwest UFO hotspots. And while near Area 51, they witness a car crash. In the car crash is everyone's favorite alien, Paul. He's been here on Earth since 1947. He's finally made his escape from his prison, and he runs across two British guys who help him get home. That's basically what the movie's about. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6. I liked a lot of the movie, and I didn't like some of the movie. I thought it was too on the mark. I thought it played up cliches instead of transcending them. Stars Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Seth Rogen as Paul. Who else is in there? Bill Hader. I can't think of his name, but I really want to mention him. He was the highlight of the film for me. And Bateman, Jason Bateman. That's not who I'm trying to think of. He's been in the I think maybe every one of the director's works. And Greg Motolo. Greg Motolo directed Superbad. He did Adventureland. He's also a big television director. Does a lot of television. He's dark-haired. He's Bill Hader. If you've seen the film, he's Bill Hader's partner. I think he's been in every Greg Motolo film. I want to say he's from the state. I also recognize him from Reno 911. Not as one of the cops, but as one of the character actors who would play various townspeople. Kind of like Nick Swardson in Reno 911. It was this guy, again, I think he's from the state. He was in Superbad, he was in Adventureland. You recognize him, and this is definitely his biggest role to date. And this is like a supporting, he's in it a lot. And he's very funny. I feel bad for not knowing his name because I think he is name worthy. But this is definitely a big turn for him. And I've always really enjoyed him. I think he's hilarious. And now I think, I like him even more because he had a big shot at at it here. Boy, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. Paul looks great. It combines motion capture, I guess, kind of like the Gollum performance. He wore a motion capture suit and was replaced with the animation of Paul in post. He looks really good. Like flawless in some scenes. I totally bought that there was an alien standing there. Thought it was very funny. Had a lot of stoner humor in it. It was co-written by the two stars, Pegg and Frost, who have been together, as far as I know, since the BBC show Spaced. If they did something before that, props to them. I don't know if what it would look at here. What was it called? Look Here Now. I can't remember the British spoof show. Anywho, they co-wrote it. They obviously love geek culture. And that's what I really liked about the movie. There's a lot of references to geekdom and stuff that geeks would know. That's what I really liked about it, and that's why I can't give it a higher score than a 6, is because I thought it was kind of exclusive. Not a lot of people would get it, and some of the scenes you have to get like a key reference or notice something very subtle, and if you don't get it, then you may not find the entire scene funny. There were even some times where I was like, now I don't get that, and I think I'm supposed to. So even, you feel kind of excluded in that way if you don't get every little in-joke. So that's why I can't give it like a higher recommendation. Also, again, I thought it was just too paint by number. It honored all the cliches, but again did not rise above them to make its own unique statement or film. The crowd was, I think the theater was about 90% full. And I think I counted probably about 8 people walking out. So there were some walkouts in this film. I noticed that they were mostly families, and I think that's connected to there is very overt anti-religious statements in the film. The whole overtness of it all was my problem. There's no subtlety to the film. And I don't know, I just hate being beaten over the head with ideas or jokes or anything. I think everything should be subtle. And this film is not subtle. Again, it makes... Paul's an alien, so he meets... Kristen Wiig is also in. She's awesome. I don't think I've seen her... I mean, maybe in Adventureland she was, featured prominently. But here, I mean, she's very good. Kristen Wiig, I think she's a genius. I hate to throw that word around, but really, I think she might be a genius. And, okay, so she's a super Christian. And, of course, Paul is an alien. Not of this earth. So it totally, challenges her. And several times during the film, they almost, poke fun of religion, which I have no problem with. I'm all for. But again, if you're sensitive to religion and things that insult the absurdity of religion, then you will not enjoy this film. And again, that is my theory of why there were so many walkouts. Because, 4 people, maybe even 5 people left all at once, and I think they were all a family. They were a couple of younger kids, and so I didn't maybe think they wanted to let their kids hear that. And then the 3 or 4 of the people that left, I thought were also all together. They left kind of at the same time, so again, that's why I thought they left. But it was a very funny movie. I laughed a lot. Also, at one point near the end, I actually said, what's going on here? I was very confused. Out of nowhere. Confused. And I think what had to have to do with the editing was during one of the shootout scenes. The film kind of devolves a little bit into just chasing and gunfire, and gets away from comedy and philosophy, which dominates the first half of the film. And I don't know if it was the editing or whatever, but I said it out loud, but, under my breath, what's going on here? So there is that. I also thought the casting was really weird. I thought the casting of Jason Bateman was really weird until the end. Then it made sense. But up until then, I wasn't with Bateman being in this. But then it made perfect sense. Also not really convinced of the casting. I don't know his name. He's a great character actor. He was from the Drew Carey Show. He played Drew Carey's brother. He was also in Volcano. He's the guy who jumps off the train into a pile or puddle of lava and starts melting and then throws the guy over his head. Fantastic scene, one of the best scenes of cinema history. He's that guy. He was also the Zodiac Killer in David Fincher's Zodiac. So if you can picture that guy, he's in this film. I did not get his casting because he didn't have to do much, and it was just a one-dimensional character. And I just kept on getting distracted by his face and knowing how good he was, how good he is, and how much he's wasted in this role. So I kind of thought the casting was odd. How they pick sometimes big faces to do little things that I just didn't understand. But yet, some of the casting was great. One of my personal heroes, Jeffrey Tambor, is in this for just a brief cameo. I thought he was amazing. So, again, I just thought the casting was uneven. Jeffrey Tambor is hilarious. He always is, but he's hilarious here. The film looked good. Again, I guess this is, I'm not certain, but I think this is Motolo's third film. I think it's definitely his least. I thought Superbad was excellent. I thought Adventureland was excellent. And Paul was so-so. You know, it was okay. But I did laugh a lot. Sometimes I think I was the only person laughing, which is always surprising to me, and I think a problem with the movie. I mean, if I'm the only person laughing. And at one point, you know, there was a guy down the aisle from me. At one point, he was the only person laughing. And I was like, well, this guy must have seen as many movies or more movies than I have, because he's getting some reference that I do not get. So again, you have to know your references. And if you don't, then you're not going to care for the film, you know, much at all. But I did think it was very funny. I had a good time. I did. I don't think a lot of people would. That's why I'm giving it a 6. I can't recommend it to everybody. I would recommend it to my geeky friends, dudes, film buffs, but the regular Joes, you know, probably not so much. So that's Paul. I give it a 6. It was fine, just fine, very funny, smart in a way. Definitely will make a good rental. You know, check it out eventually. So that's Paul. It's a 6. Thanks.